All right. All right, so my name is Brandon Buckingham, and I am going to be giving you the long-awaited How to Spladle tutorial. I had over 50 pins in college with this. Some people call it a trash move. I think otherwise. So let me just break down how I hit the Spladle off of a single leg, off of a high crotch, a double leg, from bottom, off of a slide-by, from top. I'll have all the timestamps in the description so you can skip ahead if you want to skip to a certain position. But let's get right into it. First thing you have to understand is the basics of a Spladle. A Spladle is essentially a split leg cradle popularized by Wade Chalice. And if you can see here in this video, what I'm going to want is my opponent to have his head, little telestrator action, his head on the inside of my hip. It's like an inside single essentially. So I want him to shoot on my left leg. I always spladle with my left leg. So I'm trying to get his head on the inside of my hip, and I want to have the leg I'm going to be spladling with, or threading the needle with, I want to have that leg forward. As soon as that happens, I need to make sure I whizzer and stop my opponent's forward motion. But you don't always have to do that. I mean, this is a very detailed move. It's hard to break down, so this is going to be a long video here. So once I have their forward momentum stopped, I need to bring the same side arm that I'm spladling, as the leg I'm spladling with, to his far side armpit, right? So he shoots on my left leg, I'm bringing my left arm to his opposite side armpit. Now let's just watch this for a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So boom, I go for the shrug, he drops in on my leg. Immediately, where are my hands? They're attacking his far side leg. I have a leg back, my hips are up, I'm not on my butt because I have not secured my anchor point yet, right? But I'm going to be my knee is deep here. The leg he shot on, I have it deep. I don't want to have it far back. If I have it far back, he'll be able to slide his head out. I want to trap his head essentially in between my armpit and my hip. So I'm already attacking that leg. So what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be working my body around in this direction and attacking that far leg. Let's see it. We have a lot of examples here, so let's get through it. So boom, I have that anchor point. You can tell he's already starting to panic. And I have that anchor point. Once I have that anchor point, then I can start to bring my butt to the mat and I can start to let my chest become not parallel, start to become perpendicular with the mat. But before that, we want to have our chest parallel to the mat. So right as he shoots, boom, chest flat, get my anchor point, then I can start to bring it back and I'm loading him up. But what's important here, this is the Spladle on the mat, where I'm chasing the leg. So I'm working around like a clock here. And sorry if I talk fast and I'm jumbled mouth. I got a lot going on in my head here and a lot I want to explain to you guys. So if you're not interested, click away now because it's going to be a lot of information here. All right, so I'm going to be working my legs around like a clock. I'm chasing that leg. What I'm trying to do is get the leg that he shot in on, I'm trying to get it behind his I guess his right leg in this situation. You see me chasing it? I'm working it. I still don't have it. But you can see I'm adjusting. I'm not just pulling him back. I haven't locked the leg yet. So I'm not just going straight to my back here and losing my position. I'm still adjusting and bringing my chest parallel to the mat. So it's kind of a little cat and mouse game where I'm bringing my chest parallel to the mat. Then I'm starting to hit it and I start to get a little more perpendicular. You can see that. I'm walking my legs back to parallel, loading him up again. I'm chasing it. Once I have that leg hooked, bring him back. So I don't expose my back to the mat when I'm chasing it like this until I have that leg hooked. The leg's hooked and I bring it back. Notice I'm trying to keep this outside shoulder blade up because you are in danger when you're going for the Spladle. When you're finishing that Spladle, let's see. I come up to the heel, and with my outside leg, I'm going to be pushing into him. I'm not pulling him across my back. I'm driving into him, and that keeps my outside shoulder blade just barely up. So that's a great example of me chasing the angle. Here's another example of me. I'm going for my anchor point. It's a big struggle. Chest parallel, start to get perpendicular, boom, loading him up. on the hip, and then watch me chase, watch me chase. A good wrestler is going to, if they know you have a Spladle, they're going to grab your Spladle foot and they're going to stop you from hooking your leg. So that's what this guy's doing right now. This guy was a D3 national champion. He's stopping my leg. So what am I doing? I attack with my other leg, right? Because you're supposed to hook with the same leg they shoot on, but me, I'm attacking with my outside leg. And I end up getting the hook with my outside leg. See that? But before I go back, make a small adjustment. That adjustment is sinking my foot deep. I need to have essentially the back of my knee on the back of his knee. I don't want to go when it's shallow like that. See how shallow it is? I need to sink it in a little deeper. I want, ideally, to have this foot stomped on the mat. I didn't get the pin here, but I did get 4 near fall. If I could have got my Spladle foot stomped to the mat, he wouldn't be able to escape. But you work with what you get. There it is, sink it deeper. All right, here's another example of my opponent shooting in. I go immediately to my Spladle. In these positions, I'm baiting them for the Spladle here, right? I'm kind of playing a risky game. I'm not going for my whizzer as much. I'm not stopping their takedowns, but I know what I'm doing here, and I'm kind of being risky. But I would recommend that you guys whizzer first, stop their forward momentum, and then go for the Spladle. So let's look. I have my anchor point. Loading him up, becoming parallel, then perpendicular. Get my hook, stomp it to the mat. In this clip, here's a key note. And again, I understand I'm everywhere, but there's a lot going through my head when I'm going for a Spladle. That's why I don't think it's just a junk move, because it's pretty complex. I mean, like most moves. But so once I get that leg hooked, if I feel like I can't stomp it to the mat, I can either figure 4 my legs or cross my ankles. See, I'm going to cross my ankles there to stop him from kicking out. Because all he needs to do to escape this Spladle, all he needs to do to escape is kick back his leg that I have hooked. If he can kick his leg out, he's going to be free. I have to stop that from happening. Here's another example. I come in, club underhook. He grabs a snatch single. Boom. I get my anchor point. I'm attacking the far side leg. And I start working like a clock around this direction and working for that fall. Can't get it, can't get it. Whoop. Once I get it, then I bring my back to the mat and look for the fall. All right. And if you're confused, I mean, I'm going to be breaking down every position of the Spladle here, and I think it'll start to all come together when we talk about each position. But right now, in this specific position where we're attacking the, let me bring up my notes. Where we're attacking the Spladle from a single leg on the mat, this is how we're chasing the leg. How to finish it, okay? So let's get back. Sorry if I'm not an absolute professional here. Sheesh Louise, what am I doing? Gosh, I'm blowing it. All right, so right here, another example. He shoots. I had the whizzer for a second there, stopping his forward momentum. Let's see. He shoots, kind of a crazy Naruto shot there. And I go right for my whizzer. See the whizzer? Stopping his forward momentum, outside leg up with a whizzer. Classic, good defense. Once the forward momentum stopped, then I bring my whizzer hand over into the far armpit, right? You see that? See what happened there? Let's go back. Wish I could be a little more fine-tuning. Whizzer, stop his forward momentum, bring that. Yep, see that? And I get my anchor point. Then I start to go perpendicular. I'm chasing the angle, Right? Come back a little more parallel, load him up again. More perpendicular. Chase the angle, trying to thread that needle, driving in on my outside foot, trying to thread the needle with the leg he shot on. Boom, right there again, I got it with the outside leg. Did you see that? It can be difficult when you're wrestling, especially in college, wrestling good opponents. It can be hard to get to lace it with the same leg that they shot on, but that outside leg is just as effective, as you can see here. Let's wait. You can see I have it hooked with the outside leg. right? And when you're doing that, you are more susceptible to pinning yourself because you can't finish how you want. You can't push off your outside leg and push into him. But typically the ref's going to be looking for the pin for the offensive wrestler. So here is an example of, this is how to Spladle. Section 2, Spladle from a single leg on the mat, loading the opponent onto your hip. I talked about, coming from parallel to perpendicular, loading them up. But in these clips, I am not going to be chasing the angle as much. I'm going to get my anchor point, and I'm going to bring him directly over top of my hips, and I'm going to be banking on the fact that I can whip that leg in there at the last second and get my Spladle position. You're going to see here. So boom, load him up on my hips and sneak that little sneaky leg in there. One more time, let's watch that. He shoots, not a lot of forward pressure, whizzer for a split second, and then load him up over my hips. We have another example of this. We'll see, again, pushing with my outside foot, keeping that shoulder blade up. So right here, chasing the angle. Once I get that anchor leg, watch how I do this. Instead of continuing this, gosh, come on, man. Continuing this momentum, we're switching up our direction of attack. I'm not working around like a circle. Now I'm going to bring him straight back over my own hips, loading him up on my hips. Watch this. Loading him up on my hips, boom, sneaky leg. See that sneaky leg? Look at that little sneaky leg. Let's watch it again. Straight back over my hips, boom, sneaky leg. And again, how we finish on the Spladle. I like to have one hand behind the knee, one hand at the heel. My outside shoulder blade is up. I'm pushing with my outside foot into him. Foot stomped on the mat. This is the perfect finishing of the Spladle example. In the other clip, sometimes I didn't finish it just perfectly, but this is exactly how you want to finish. Driving in him with the outside foot, one hand behind the knee, one hand up at the heel, pushing so our stomp the leg to the mat and pushing so our outside shoulder blade is up. Hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting down and I'm not just coming off like a schizophrenic lunatic here, rambling. So let's see. Trying to get the pin. Boom. Thanks, Rendina. All right, so here is another example. I'm in a front headlock. I'm in a front headlock here. Not fun to be in a front headlock. But what does my opponent do? He releases the front headlock. And he grabs that single. Boom. We are now moving on to section 3. We went over attacking the Spladle and chasing that angle. Trying to chase the angle and bait that leg. We went over loading him up onto our hips, changing our momentum, bringing him straight back. Now we're going to go how to Spladle from an inside single off the mat, right? Jumping our hips and feet in. So this is when they have came to their feet, right? He's on his feet. I've stopped his forward momentum, and I'm reaching with my same side, my whizzer hand, reaching to grab behind his knee. Boom, once I get it, happened quick, hold on. Once I get that anchor point down when he's on his feet, so look at his posture here. Look at his posture. If he had his hips in and his head position in my ribs, I wouldn't be able to Spladle. I would be getting taken down, right? But right now, I have my chest over top of his head, controlling his posture, and I'm reaching with my whizzer hand to that far leg. Boom. As soon as I get it, what am I doing? I'm driving into him. If I drive into him, what's he going to do? He's going to drive back into me. We drive into them when we're hitting the Spladle off the mat. Once we feel their pressure, like they're driving back into us, then we're going to jump our outside foot in, and we are going to load them up over our hips. So you'll watch what I'm going to do here. So you can see that foot coming in. It was a small jump. It only went from there to there, but it should be enough. I'm going to drop to my knee and load him up over my hips. Boom, drop to the knee, little up over my hips. That sneaky leg's coming in. Sneaky legs in. Right there, go for the Spladle finish. We got another example here, let's see. Right here, he shoots in. We're attacking that far leg. Almost has a double. And that small little shift of my feet, right? Watch the feet. Watch my outside foot. He has it. He even has my outside foot. But I'm not concerned because I know what I'm doing. It's like a little mouse trap. This foot. Watch where it goes. Boom, drop to the knee. And this is kind of a mix. I'm attacking the angle here as well. But it's important when you're going for a Spladle from off the mat, you need to drive into them. Look how hard I'm driving in here in this next clip. Watch how hard I'm driving into my opponent in the next clip. I get my anchor point, get my hands behind his knee. I'm driving in, bring him right over my hips. Boom, sneaky little Spladle leg. So, and here's another example. My opponent's even in on a double leg here. I'm going to go over that later, but he's in on a double here. And all I'm doing, there you go. All I'm doing is jumping my outside leg in. I'm pushing in, and then going. It's kind of like a lat drop, you know? You're not going to walk backwards and just hit a lat drop. I mean, if your opponent's dumb enough to just walk into you, then that's fine. But generally, you're going to have to push into them, wait till you feel that pressure, and then jump your feet in. It's the same thing when you're hitting a Spladle off the mat. You're jumping your feet in. Watch this foot. Watch my outside foot. Jumping in, boom. And you already see the sneaky little Spladle leg is coming in. Catch it. And where am I? Outside foot pushing in. Man, can I move this bar? Gosh, I'm a fool. Should have done that already. Outside foot pushing in. This stomping to the mat. One hand is behind his knee. One hand is behind his heel. See that? We're hitting all the points there. But let's watch that really quick one more time because this is a good example. I'm pushing in. As soon as I stop, jump in, lock it up, and get the fall. There we go. All right. Now, people are going to say, it's a risky move. What are you going to do when it doesn't work? It's like a headlock. You're going for a headlock. You rip the headlock. Next thing you know, you're taken down. You shouldn't have gone for it. Well, I have a Spladle series. There's one reason that I was good with the Spladle, and it's because I have good shot defense, and I have a series that I hit off the Spladle. So what do you do off a failed Spladle? You go for your switch, or you go for a near side cradle. Not really. It's like and/or, you know. So how do we recover from a failed Spladle? Let's get into that now. My opponent here from Castleton takes a shot. I have my wizard. I felt his pressure. Right? I'm not just attacking his opposite side leg. I have my wizard because I feel this guy's got a good shot. He's making me a little nervous, right? I don't want him to take me down. And you can see he's pressuring me. Keep the outside foot up. I still have that wizard. He's trying to run the pipe. He's trying to finish high. And then I only release that wizard whenever I feel comfortable. You can't just be crazy with it. His forward momentum stops, and it allows me to attack that Spladle. I get it in deep. I'm chasing the angle, rotating in this direction, right? Chasing it. I get it hooked here, but guess what? He's a good wrestler. He doesn't stop wrestling. I get my takedown, but he rolls out of it. You can see, what's he doing here? What's he doing with this hand? With his right hand. He's pushing on my hips to free his head. I didn't go back far enough. Let's go back a little more. I have it locked up. I'm doing everything right, but he's smart. He pushes on my hip, frees his head, and what do? I keep wrestling. I go right into my switch, come up to my feet. I already have two. I know I already have two. So all I need to do is stay on top. He frees his head, come to my switch, cut the corner, go out of bounds. Right there. Recovering from a failed Spladle. I don't just lay on my back and wait for him to get to position. We keep wrestling. So here's a great example. This is kind of a long clip. A great example of me transitioning between the Spladle and a wizard, right? I go for it, I bail. I have my wizard. Then I'm attacking the Spladle. I think I might... Notice this. Notice my outside leg. You might say, you're wrestling bad because you're wizarding and your outside leg is not up. That's true. If I wasn't going for a Spladle, I'm baiting him with this leg. You'll notice sometimes my knee's down, sometimes my leg's up. If I feel like he's about to take me down, I stomp that leg back and get my outside leg up and go back to my wizard. But if I feel like I'm about to hit the Spladle, then I can drop my knee to the mat and jump in and load him up on my hips. So let's see here. I got my wizard, outside legs up. Think I'm going to jump my foot in, but I don't. He starts to elevate. Keep my balance. Right here, he almost took me down. I have my outside foot up. He stops his forward momentum, and it allows me to attack that Spladle leg. I pull it in tight. Look, he's even going for a double here. I flatten his hips out. And I'm just going kind of for a little switch there. You see that? Small little switch there. It's a good example of me keeping good. You have to have... If you don't have good takedown defense, stop going for the Spladle. Work on your takedown defense, okay? If you get taken down all the time, I learned to Spladle because I wasn't getting taken down. I was always having people hang out on my legs forever. That's how I got good at the Spladle. I had good takedown defense, then I developed the Spladle. If you don't have good takedown defense, you're wasting your time. So right here, his forward momentum stops. He's getting a little extended. I'm attacking the switch. Pull it in. His hips drop. I know I just need to get... I let him pop his head here because I'm going for my switch. There we go. I got my 2. Keep wrestling. Get my 2. We're going to restart in the middle. So right here. This next guy, he shoots. Boom. Kill his head. Wizard for a second. Outside leg down. Then it's up. Pressuring into him. Going for that angle. Watch this. I can't even hit a switch here, but I keep wrestling. I almost have it, but I don't. I pull that leg in, right? Great position to Turk. I could Turk here. I could lace his leg with my left leg here and go for a Turk. I don't. But hey, we all make mistakes, right? So, wrestle through the position. Keep the leg that you're attacking when you Spladle with. It's useful. I can't even switch, but I come up and get my 2 anyways by holding on to that leg. Here is another example of a failed Spladle. Boom, he pops his head. What do? All right. When he pops his head, when I feel he's popping his head, look how parallel my chest is to the mat. It's dangerous if he pops his head and I'm going perpendicular and starting to expose my back. That's pretty dangerous. So I can feel he's about to pop his head. So I'm getting my chest parallel to the mat, and I'm starting to think I'm going to go for my switch here. His head pops. Boom, right into my switch. Cut the corner. And this is where high hips wins. He tries to step over. He's being smart. He's trying to re-switch. He's trying to get his hips high and re-switch. And I am blocking him from doing that and maintaining my switch. Right? Going for it. He almost gets it, but I'm holding on to that same leg I Spladle with. And then I come back the other way, right? Look at that. I stop switching, and I go to a crackdown position. Do you notice that? I was switching. I switched to get out of this, but then, no, I don't. A little farther back. So look, I'm going for a switch right now. I'm going one direction, and then I switch my direction from I was going this way. Now, because he's countering that, now I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm going to go to a crackdown. So that Spladle leg turns into a switch, turns into a high crotch snap down, right? To the uninformed eye, it looks like I'm just hanging onto a leg and not doing anything, but if you wrestle, you understand what I'm talking about. So now I pull that in, and I go to a crackdown. Oh, crackdown, and I should, I am shelving his leg on my hip, or trying to, and go over for my double right there. So this is a move that I wish I hit more, and I would recommend you guys doing this. It is hitting the near side cradle off of the failed Spladle. I only have one example of this here, but right, I kill his head inside. I'm going for the Spladle, but he's smart. He pops his head again. I go for my switch. I get him to his hip. Not that that really matters, but I go from switching to then attacking. So look, I have my switch arm. It's in deep. I'm going to shift my hands. I'm going to transition my hands so my outside arm starts to lace under his leg, and my switch hand is going to come up to his head, and I'm going to attack a near side cradle. See that? Switch the hands, pop it, get my lock, head in the hip, and I'm going to, right here I'm just driving over, which is not smart. I need to get a tripod up and I need to sweep the mat. Sweep the mat. Beautiful camera work here. But yeah, so if your switch doesn't work, or even if it's kind of working, remember you can attack that cradle. You can attack that cradle, which I did right there. All right, so what is this? So we went over how to recover from a failed Spladle. You have your switch, you have your high crotch, you have your cradle. Now we're going to go, how do I Spladle from a high crotch or a double leg? It's simple. We're going to be revisiting a clip here, but it's simple. Kill the head inside. Look at me. Jeez Louise. What a mustache. 1980s John Holmes. How about it? What am I doing? All right. Come on. Professional. So, he shoots. Wow, I didn't even do kind of crappy video editing. But, damn. Let's find this clip. Hold on. Let's go back to my... Never mind. You know, I'm not even going to... Whatever. We're going to go to the next clip because Brandon blew it on that one. But he shot a high crotch there. And I killed his head to the inside. You can actually see in a lot of the clips I kill the head on the inside. But here's a great example of it. He shoots. I sprawl. Kind of. But he has a good high crotch. He's building height. He's cutting that angle. Look at his head. Look at his head. I'm not going to Spladle from here. How can I Spladle from this position? How? Well, I'll tell you. Get your outside leg up. Hit him with the beef. Hip into him. Watch. I hit him with the hips. And then kill his head on the inside. Right there. You can't kill his head on the inside without creating space. So I have to hit him with my hips, release some space, and then kill his head to the inside. But see, the reason I can do this, he's still on his knees. He's in on my legs, but he's still on his knees. If I was wrestling Jordan Burroughs and he did this, he'd be up on his feet driving me, and I would have no chance of spladling, right? So let this be a lesson for if you're going for a takedown. Don't hang out on your knees. Because right now, you'd think I was going to get taken down, but this kid's about to get pinned in 10 seconds. Think about that. Hit him with the hips, kill his head on the inside, right to work. Sitting that corner, chasing the angle, and I'm going to attack his heel, create separation from the legs, and I am going to hit him with the outside leg Spladle. Check it. Create the separation, step in with my outside leg, and then get my, look at that, and then get my bottom leg in. See that? Using both legs. And I'm going for the figure 4 here because I know I'm shallow, right? See, it all connects. I'm not schizophrenic. It all connects, right? Let's do that again. Attack the foot. Walking my legs in, breaking his posture. I get the leg with my outside foot, and then I end up getting the proper leg in from there. Boom. Figure 4. And get the pin. Now, we're on to the next thing. Spladling from top. AKA how I tore my ACL. True, that's actually a true story. But that's neither here nor there, is it? Spladling from top. If you want to spladle from top, get good at a claw. You need a claw, right? So this is a claw right here. Not to yourself, obviously, unless you're totally, something's wrong with you. My opponent is on bottom, I'm on top. I reach under his armpit and come to his far side trap. That's a claw. That is step 1. So notice, I'm lining up on his left side, and I'm going to transition to his right side, get that claw deep, get it deep, and then clamp down on it. Clamp down on that claw. How long is this video going to be? All right. See that? Just a small little change of weight. Oh gosh. Wish I could scroll a little bit slower. So, line up on his left side. Immediately as the whistle blows, what do? Shift to his right side and get that claw. If I get that claw and I'm really top heavy, so when I have the claw, I have it across his throat, pulling down, and I come with my left hand, or my, I guess, near side hand, to his far lat. And I grab that far lat. And I pressure down. Because if I pressure down, like we talked before, if I pressure down, he's going to pressure up. He's not just going to let me dominate his position. And if he is, I'm going to rack up riding time. I'm going to go for my cradle, my cross-face cradle, whatever. Maybe I'll do a different video on that, but probably not. I'll probably not going to do something like this again. So he goes for the stand-up. When he stands up, that is when my claw and my hand on his outside lat, kind of armpit area, that's when that's useful, because I'm whipping him down. I'm controlling his shoulders. He's going to have to be really strong and have really good posture to stand up through me ripping him down with my claw. See, my leg is stepping in between his legs. Notice that? My near side leg stepping in between his two legs. This is his leg. This is his leg. I'm in between, and I am ripping him over top of my leg to bring him back down to the mat. I'm trying to break his posture. If I don't do this, he might stand up too straight. I need to bring him back down. He's trying to stand up really hard. He's swimming up. He's trying to stand up really hard. So I have my claw, the far armpit, and I'm stepping my near side leg in between his legs and bringing him over top of it. See that? Brings him back down to the mat. Let's do that again. Brings him back down to the mat. He hits the stand up, far armpit, bring him back down, and I'm heavy. Now I'm getting wrist control from with my left hand. I'm coming to his far armpit and I'm grabbing wrist control, making him fight hands. As he fight hands, I know what I'm doing. I'm baiting him here. There's really not even a move I can hit. I mean, I guess that's just a cross wrist, right? I mean, it's just a cross wrist. What am I talking about? It's just a cross wrist, but I'm baiting him. He's starting to build height. What do? I get heavy. Here's the most important thing. The most important thing when you're spladling from top is to bring your near side hip into his armpit. So it's my left hip here. It's not this hip. It's my left hip. I need to slide it down into this armpit. We're going to learn why you must do that in a moment. That's the most important part of spladling from top. The claw is important. The far armpit's important. But you must bring your near side hip into his armpit, which I do in this clip for sure. And again, like when we're loading up on our hips, watch this foot. This foot is going to jump in. Boom. See that? Look at all that torque. Look at all that pressure. All that pressure. I jump my foot in. It's laced. He has nowhere to go here. And look where my hip is. Look where my hip is. My hip is not across the middle of his back. It took me so long to figure that out. I used to always go for the Spladle from top, and I couldn't get it because I was going over the middle of his back. We want his shoulder blades and his head on our stomach. So whatever is above our near side hip is what's going to be on our stomach. So if I'm attacking him over the middle of his back, then the entire middle and upper part of his back is going to be on my stomach, and he's going to walk out of it. Look up Josh Turao versus Thomas Gilman, and watch how Gilman gets out of Josh Turao's. It's at Midlands, I think. Watch how Gilman gets out of Josh Turao's Spladle. If anyone's even watching this video at this point. But if you want to learn how to Spladle, man, I'm one of the best people to learn how to Spladle from. So hopefully if you're interested, you're still watching. But if not, I mean, whatever, man. And there we go. What do I have? It's hard to see, but I have my leg, my foot stomped, my Spladle leg foot stomped. I'm attacking at the heel. I'm attacking behind the knee. Outside leg pushing in. Just how we finish, right? Look at my outside shoulders up. I get the fall there. So right here, off the whistle, I go for my crossface. But it doesn't work. I keep wrestling. I go for my crossface off the whistle, but he beat me. He stood up. Boom, he stood up. So where do I go? Right back to that armpit. And right here, instead of being on the claw, I'm just grabbing under both his armpits, right? I'm under one armpit on the inside and under one armpit on the outside. And I have my little Spladle leg stomping backwards. He starts to attack my outside leg like he's going for a high crotch. It was not a strong decision, though. I'm going to jump this foot in. and I'm going to attack the heel with my outside hand and behind the knee with my near side hand, just like we always do. You ready? Boom. There it is. Notice, where's my hip? I'm going to try to pause it. Where's my hip? My hip is in his armpit, isn't it? This is his armpit. My hip is in his armpit. You see? I only have his shoulders and his head on me. I do not want the rest of his back on me. It's going to be bad. Get a quick fall just like that. Boom. Leg stomped. Heel. Are you getting a trend now? Hopefully it's starting to make sense to somebody. So, in a minute I'm going to show you what happens if you dive over the middle of their back or the small of their back. But right here it's not as clean of a Spladle from the top. But look, and also hit a Merkle from here if you want to. They're standing up too much, boom, go to your Merkle, right? Whatever. Notice this little transition for me bringing my weight from the side of him to on top of him to break his posture. Bring my chest over top of his head. Watch, boom, chest over top of his head. I pull his arm across so I can attack this leg. I mean, there's a lot of small things. If I say hit the Spladle this one way, it's going to fail you. I mean, you have to make all these small adjustments. It's like any room in wrestling that you get good at. I mean, you're going to have to make small adjustments. You're going to have to wrestle. So right now, I have his leg laced with mine, which I typically don't do. If you notice, I usually like to attack the leg first with my hands and then lace the leg. But right here, I already have the leg laced, so I'm going for it. And watch how much pressure I put on him when I jump this foot in and try to go for my Spladle from top. A lot. Look at all that pressure. And again, where's my hip? Where's my hip? But I can't get it here, so I have to make an adjustment. What do? I'm going to come out with my outside foot. I'm going to bring my outside foot back out so I can readjust, cut that angle a little more, and then load him up over my hip. Cut the angle a little bit more, and then I'm going to load him up over my hip. Right there. In this clip, I actually tear my meniscus and LCL. If you see here, it's kind of a little fun fact. He has my foot, and it's putting an incredible amount of torque on my leg like this, and it actually fully tore my LCL and meniscus, and I had to get surgery. Ended my season. Pretty cool. But hey, it's all worth it if you get the pin, right? I guess. You can see, boom. And here's an example of me not pushing into him as much. I'm pinned here. I didn't push into him properly. I should have my outside leg pushing into him in this direction, but I don't have it. So I'm actually pinned as well. But he has my toe. That's why I can't do it, because I'm busy tearing my meniscus and LCL. And I get to fall. Bang. So here is a great example. Do not go for the Spladle if your opponent is on his knees, because you are not going to have the torque. You need his hips to be up, his posture to be broken. If he's on his knees and his hands, he's got a flat posture, right? He'll have a flat posture. If his hips come up and his shoulder stays in the same place, he'll have a broken down posture. So right here, I'm just waiting for him to, I'm waiting for this knee to come off the mat. Right? Pushing his head down. I'm waiting. As soon as it comes up, where do I attack? It's like, it's exact. I attack one hand behind the knee, one hand at the heel, and it happens very quickly. As soon as that knee comes up, watch my hands. Flop, flop, boom. And right here, he's a little high, but not too high. And I crank on it, and I get the fall there. But that's just a good example of do not go for the Spladle until both feet are up. The leg comes up, and I go for it. Boom. He has to have broken down posture. Here's just another Spladle. Here's an example of I'm having trouble getting him over. So I walk my foot in, and I use this foot as a lever to crank him over. Watch how I do it. Steps on the mat, boom, cranks it over. Pushing in, outside shoulder blade up. Here is a really weird Spladle. I've actually never done this except for in this match. I've seen Anthony Valencia do this. It's kind of like a suicide Spladle. It's irresponsible. I don't recommend going for this, but I just wanted to show you it because it's like a weird variation of the Spladle. So I come over like a fool and allow this big strong man to get a hold of my hips with a double leg. Not good, right? I look like I'm in trouble, but again, he's about to get pinned in a second. Why does that happen? I'm using my Spladle leg like a lever to push up, right? Because remember, we don't want to Spladle if they're like this, but I'm going to raise his hips up with my Spladle leg, actually. And as I'm doing that, I'm attacking his... You see that hand come in there? See that little sneaky hand come in there? And attack his leg? I'm elevating over. Look at that. That's so weird. I can't believe that one. That's such a weird one. I want to watch that again. Again, I don't recommend hitting it this way, but Anthony Valencia hit it this way once, and I did too for some reason, and got to fall. Don't do that though. Just weird. So I think this next clip, nope. So here is, I lied to you. I got a little mixed up. Here is how to Spladle from a slide-by. And in this series, I'm going to show you what happens if you Spladle them from top or off a slide-by and you go over the middle or the small of their back. I know I said it before, but so how do we hit a shrug? When I tie up with you, you're going to tie up with me, or else you're just going to let me hang on your head. Can I just... Nope. Oh, don't do that. All right, so I tie up with you. What are you going to do? You're going to tie up with me. Once you tie up with me, I'm going to try to step with the... So I tie up with one hand. With the other hand, my shrug hand, I'm going to step with that same foot, big toe to little toe, or as close as I can. So I'm going to be stepping forward with this foot towards this foot, and I am going to be dropping my outside ear to my outside shoulder and pivoting my hips so my hips are in line with his hips. I mean, when I show this Spladle at practice and clinics, you don't even need the Spladle hand. It's really all on the hips. It's really about dropping your outside ear and flipping your hips. But the Spladle hand is just supplemental. You can't, or the shrug hand. I'm getting scatterbrained. The shrug hand is just a supplement. It's all in the footwork and the hips here. So watch. Step that foot close and look at my hips. Kids that can't hit the shrug is because they're focusing too much on the arm, the shrug arm, and not as much on the footwork and the hips. This is going to come in. And look how my hips are in line with his hips. And guess what I'm already doing? I already have my claw, and I already am behind the armpit, correct? And I'm already lacing this leg. And he's focused on attacking that leg. One more time, really quick. We have a lot of examples of these because my senior year, I didn't want people to shoot on me as much because my knees were all blown out, so I would hit the Spladle off of slide-bys a lot. High tie, he ties, take that step, boom, hip to hip, lace the leg, break his posture, and attack that far leg. Again, what do we have? I know I keep saying this. I'm at his heel, I'm behind his knee, this foot's on the ground, this foot is pushing into him, outside shoulder up. Whew. Getting a headache here. And there we go, get the fall. Here we go, check this out. Here's where Goober Brandon makes a crucial mistake. I hit a beautiful... This is what happens if you do not heed my warning and you do not bring your hip to their armpit. Hit a good little shuck by, and I get excited. I get excited. And look, where's my hip? My outside hip is in his shoulder, not my near side hip. I'm way too far over the small of his back. Everything else is right, but just that one part is off. Watch what happens. I'm not getting back points. I'm about to get pinned. You see that? Oh, can you imagine if I would have got pinned here? What a disaster. That's why you don't do it. I mean, I did this a bunch of times in practice. This is the only time I ever did this in a match, I think. But, man. Also, I'd like to show in this clip, If someone's grabbing me really hard and is tight with their arms, I like to do what I think Dennis Frazier, my high school coach, said, checking the time. So I tie up and I come under, instead of draping over top and hitting the shrug, I come under his arm and put his elbow in the crease of my elbow and go like this and use it as a wedge to drive the shrug arm over. Man, I hope this is making sense. See what I mean? Kind of, whatever. But yeah, make sure you bring your hip into his armpit, or else you're going to have this happen to you and you're going to get pinned by someone you don't have any business getting pinned by, which almost happened to me. Yikes, look how close that was. Oh, horrible. So here's another example of me checking the time shrug. I club, come just like this, take that same step. I'm going to take that same step. See, I have it. It's going under his arm and attaching to my arm. Going to take that same step. This is what's going to come stepping in. Boom. Pass it by. Break his posture. And watch. While I swing around to attack his leg, I'm dropping my hip into his armpit. See that? And there it is. I mean, you should start to notice a pattern, and it should start to get repetitive. So here's just a clip, a tip on how to hit the shrug, because it was my number one takedown. Bait them into charging at you. Right here, I do a little goofy goober, sling my arm dance, and then I club him. Watch, do a little dance. I club him. I know he's gonna club back. As soon as he clubs back, boom, hit my shrug. And again, watch the footwork. You can't hit the shrug if I don't take that step in. Watch this foot. This foot is really important. But I know if I club, he's going to club back. So, wrestling, it's like a language. It's like a conversation. Don't ask a question without having an answer to the question. So I consider, like, doing a collar tie, that's like a question. My answer is going to be my shrug, right? It's a language. Develop your own language of wrestling. Develop your own series. Right? If I'm hitting a Spladle, I'm asking a question. If he responds by popping his head, I respond by going for my switch. If he starts to fight the switch, I respond by going for my cradle. Right? I respond by going for my high crotch. It's a language. Develop the language. That's why someone like Jordan Burroughs is so effective, or Kyle Snyder, because they have, like, Kyle Snyder will shoot a low single, right? It's kind of like a low single. It's like an ankle pick. And then he'll come up right to like a high crotch. Or Jordan Burroughs, his question, his blast double leaves such a small room for a response that it works on everyone. There's no room for response. He asks the question, and it just brutalizes him. It's like a very, very powerful question. But me, I don't have that powerful of questions. I have to develop a series. There it is. I go for it. I don't commit. And whatever. So here's that same kid that almost pinned me off my bad shot. You don't have to say you don't have a good shrug. I would hit this off of a club underhook shuck-by, and I would also hit it off an arm drag. So watch, I'm gonna be over-unders. I'm over-unders with this kid. It's hard to see because I didn't include the clip completely, but you'll see. I'm over-unders. I come with my, I think I come with my underhook arm and come to a slide-by arm drag. I arm drag him right into my Spladle. I bait him with the leg. I arm drag him into the position. You see there? I'm arm dragging. I'm reaching for that far lat. Just going to pat him on the back so he will fix his posture and square up with me, and then I go right to my Spladle. Push in. I mean, it's a constant give and take, right? I'm pressuring in here for just a second, and then I'm going to bring this foot to here, and I'm going to release the pressure because he's going to start pushing into me. Then this pressure is not going to be there. Now it's going to allow us to have all of this momentum. Boom, bring it in, load it up. Chase the leg, attack the foot, get our Spladle foot pinned to the mat, and there it is. Again, hitting all of our marks. Whew, who's still watching? Right here, another example just of a shrug, of how to hit a shrug. Kind of like the Spladle, where we want our opponent to come to his feet, right? If we're gonna hit it from top. If you're hitting a shrug, a great time to hit a shrug or a shuck-by is right when your opponent steps up. So watch, right when he steps this knee up, I'm gonna hit my shrug. Or the other knee up. See that? It was the other knee, sorry. Right when he steps this knee up, I'm gonna hit my shrug. Steps it up, I take my foot in. And again, still, every time you see me hit the shrug, I'm stepping my shrug leg in and pivoting my hips. Boom. Right there. Got my claw every time you see it, I got my claw and I'm behind his far armpit. It's just every time. He's not posturing up, so I'm just going to stay on top. All right, here's an example. Another weird way to hit this from top or to hit from a front headlock. Say your opponent is, I think I was losing in this match. Say your opponent is stalling or they're not attacking you. You can do whatever, I shoot, I score, you shoot, you score, whatever. The domination drill where you push on their head, push on their head. I'm on top, but I'm going to come out front and I'm going to put pressure on his head. And I'm going to bait him to grab my leg. See that? Just a small... I can't hit the Spladle from top because I'm trying to. You see, I have his leg laced. I'm trying to hit it from top, but he just won't move. He's not moving. He's winning. He's trying to be smart. So I release my Spladle leg, put pressure on his head, come out front. He grabs my leg, and then I go right to it. Load him up. Attack the angle. Attack with the outside foot. Try to cross my ankles here. Look at that. Cross the ankles. You see how close he was to escaping? Crossing your ankles is a great technique. Look how shallow that foot is. Look how shallow that foot is. Crossing my ankles here is a great technique. Here's another example. I'm on top, but I'm working my way out front. Boom. Get into the single leg position. I can't hit the Spladle I mean, I guess I could here, but again, not when his knees are on the mat. I can't hit my Spladle from here while his knees are on the mat and he has this posture, but I can attack the angle, like the first thing we went over. Chasing that corner, attacking that angle. I know I can hit that. So I get my knee in front of his arm, just like that, and then I start attacking that angle, load him up over my hip, sneaky leg in, stomp it to the mat. There it is. That's just another little side tip. I mean, there's so many little side tips to make the Spladle effective. It's not just the trash move, go for it, go for it. Hopefully my semi-incoherent ramblings are starting to form an idea for you of like, oh wow, there's a lot to the Spladle, and there's some small little tips and tricks. So here, this is going to be how to hit the Spladle from bottom. We're almost done, you guys. If you're still watching, I mean, hopefully you're getting something out of this. How to hit it from bottom. People would cut me on top all the time when I was on bottom because I would hit a stand-up and I would put my Spladle hip into them, right? So I would hit a stand-up and I would put my Spladle hip into them. You can already tell here, I'm coming to my feet, but what hip am I giving him? I'm giving him my Spladle hip. I come to my feet, give him my Spladle hip, and right to it. Break his posture down. I mean, he could, if he had good posture, he could elevate up. But I gave him my Spladle hip, I'm breaking his posture down, and I'm attacking that angle. So bait him from bottom. You want to hit it from bottom? I mean, if you're already hitting a stand-up and getting to your feet, you know, you already have to put a hip forward to break his lock. So just put the hip the opposite hip, put the hip back that you want to Spladle him with. Jeez, Brandon, what's wrong with you? All right, and there you go. Spladling from bottom, getting a pin from a Spladle from bottom. There it is. So, what is this? This is how do I Spladle from a low single? One example here. We're just going over small stuff here, small stuff. So, they go for a low single, John Smith style low single. They have my heel, they have their head and the side of my knee. What you have to do, grab them by the chin, grab them by the lat, and pull them up out of a low single into a regular single. Low single, I sprawl my hips back, I grab his lat and his chin, and I pull him up. See that? I'm pulling up because I'm trying to get his head out of my knee. That whole time, his head was in my knee. I want his head on my stomach. I want the back of his head on my stomach or his chest. So he goes for a low single. pull them up out of the low single into a regular single leg. And then I go for my little Spladle series. I think I end up hitting a little switch thing here. Kind of a weird little thing. Boom. Pops his head right for my switch. Get my 2. There it is. Now back to hitting the Spladle from bottom. We kind of jumbled around here. Back to hitting the Spladle from bottom. I'm on bottom. What am I going to do? I'm going to go for my switch. Why am I going to go for my switch? Because it's a good move, and also it works into my Spladle. I go for my switch. He tries to jump over. He tries to re-switch. I know he's going to do that. I stop him from doing that. I'm going for my switch, going for my switch. Start to cut the corner on him. And what ends up happening? We get into a weird scramble where somehow he's in on a single leg now, and I gave him that hip. And funny little thing here, I'm going to take him the other way. So a lot of the time when I'm spladling, I'm chasing the angle, right? Or I'm bringing him back over myself. But right here, I'm going to do a little forward roll, and I'm going to take the Spladle the other way. Versatile move. Watch this. You haven't seen this yet. See that? Take it the other way. I think that's an interesting one. Watch that one more time. It all started from me being on bottom, going to my switch, and then going to my Spladle from bottom. And instead of taking him forward, boom. All right, last thing, if you're still watching, desperation mode. Say you really want to bait the Spladle, or maybe not desperation mode, whatever. Let's say Spladle stance. Watch in this clip how I am constantly, as soon as my opponent makes a move, sometimes I'll put my right leg forward to make them think that I want them to shoot on my right leg, but right as they shoot, I step my left leg forward. But the traditional Spladle stance would be split leg stance with my Spladle leg forward, like a really split leg stance. But right here, I'm baiting him because I know he doesn't want to shoot on my Spladle leg, so I'm actually putting my other leg forward for a second, and right as he fakes, I switch my stance. And the whole time, I'm like very, very intently watching his movements to go for my Spladle. So look, it's my left leg I went forward, but I'm putting my right leg forward to bait him. I'm standing up straight to bait him. See that? My right leg's forward. Watch, as soon as if he moves, I put my left leg forward. See that? I'm constantly trying to give him my left leg, give him my left leg, give him my left leg. I'm baiting him. You might call it cocky, but I'm baiting him here. I'm standing straight up. I'm baiting him. Left leg forward. If my right leg comes forward and he moves at me, you see what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to give him my left leg. The Spladle stance. But yeah, we're about finished, you guys. I appreciate you watching. I thought I would do a little in-depth video because I think that the Spladle is a very versatile and well-used move. I mean, look at Bo Nichols hit it different. Bo Nichols even hit it a different way than I've hit it, where he comes over top of the leg. He hit Sammy Brooks on it. Nick Simmons has hit it in international competition. The Spladle is very useful. It's not a junk move. It can work on the best of the best if you have good defense. Again, if you don't have good defense, stop trying to Spladle people and start learning good defense. Because without good defense, you can't hit a Spladle. That's that. Ask me any questions if you want to. I'll try to answer them in the comments. And thanks for taking the time to watch. All right. See you guys.